Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.
Good morning, hospitality. How are we doing today?
Good morning. Live from Vegas.
We are live. We're the triple, what do we call it? Three Musketeers?
Yeah, triple threat.
Yeah, the triple threat.
Yeah.
We're missing Michael Golden, our fourth, but we had him last week, so enough of his face. Here in Vegas, though, it's so good to see you guys in person.
I know. It feels like way more fun to do it in person than just logging on to like another Zoom call that's just broadcasted.
100%.
And this is my first time meeting Brandy in person.
I know.
So.
It feels so funny when you like are interacting with someone over the internet for years and you're like, have I met you yet? So yeah, it's great to meet you in person.
Yeah, likewise.
All of our viewers and listeners wouldn't know because we get along so well.
Yeah.
On camera and everything. But what an exciting time to be doing more in-person events. We did Book Direct Show last week, so shout out to everybody that tuned in for that and then got to also attend. But then now at VRMA, and you got to attend the
the premiere of Homewinners last night, Matt Landau's show featuring B-Trips and Casigo, and it was great. Like a lot of colleagues, a lot of friends, seeing them, everyone dressed up. There was a tortoise on the red carpet.
Very cool. That's a very interesting celebrity guest to have.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. The drinks are flowing, and nice little panel at the end too, sort of talking about industry trends and sort of where things go from here.
Yeah, I like that. It adds a little bit of flash to the conference,
Yeah.
like a movie premiere basically at the beginning. I think that's fun.
Do you think we can get the tortoise on the show?
Oh my God. Yes. Like get their take.
Yeah. See what the big takeaway was from their vacation rental.
But I do think conferences should start with the gala. Like everyone was dressed up. And
Yeah, I think it's better to do that honestly at the beginning, because by the second or even like God forbid the third day, you're like, I don't want to see people anymore.
especially in Vegas.
I know this is my first time in Vegas, so I'm like, I have high expectations.
Well, we are at Caesars, so Caesars is the place to have those expectations.
And their conference was sold out.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
unbelievable.
Compared to last year, it was like 1,500 attendees total. So they're at 3,000.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Something like that is what I saw in the email.
Yeah.
So what do you think made it jump up double in size this year? Was it Vegas?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I think there's a couple components. I think Vegas is obviously a big draw, but then there's a lot more people getting involved in the space, hearing about it for the first time. I think we also saw there's a ton of vendors here.
Yeah.
The volume of people that they're bringing has certainly increased. So
For sure.
Yeah. The exhibit floor when it opened last night for happy hour was packed.
yeah.
Wow.
Like, it was, in terms of just interest in the industry and also performance. Like when companies are making money, they're sending more people to conferences. They're sending more people to sort of continue education, learn the things they need to be doing to better run businesses.
Yeah.
And I think, and overall, it's great that everyone's getting together, and there's going to be the advocacy event tonight.
Yeah.
Sort of getting people together, put money behind the things we want to do as an industry. And all good things.
All good things. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you have kind of lackluster attendance, you can feel that. It's kind of the, just the energy that an event has. So, I'm excited.
I agree. Well, as I'm like about to choke on my cough drop. No, totally agree. I think I am like you guys, though. I'm ready to go home almost, basically. I'm like, I just got here. I know, just got here, but like, I'm excited to see you all, but I'm also excited to get back into bed and my routine and
I know. I
Yeah.
flew here from my sister's engagement party in New York.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's been a lot of ping ponging around the country. But I feel like talking to the vendors that are just kind of at these one after another. I mean, they must be exhausted.
Kudos to
I
them.
know.
Kudos. Seriously, our hats go off to you.
Exactly. A lot of coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee.
Coffee and hopefully some liquid IVs and maybe
Yeah.
even real IVs. Who knows?
Yeah. This is I was thinking about that. I'm like, that
This
is
is
an
the place.
option.
Yeah.
That is an option.
I was like, I wonder if I called the front desk, would they just? I'm like, oh yeah, we totally have somebody. We'll get that. Like,
Yeah.
Or would they be like, no?
We've
Go.
got hangover kits at our booth.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? I will be stopping by.
I will be stopping by as well. Do you have anything for a head cold too? That'd be great.
We do.
All
Yeah, wow.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. You're so prepared.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I know there's quite a few stories to go through, and it probably won't meet our full 30 minutes like we normally do. But Jamie, I kind of want to kick off with you starting into the Airbnb bust that was kind of going rampant last week and the week before.
Yeah, so
Give
this
us some details.
this started with a Twitter post, as so many, I feel like, news stories start today.
Groundbreaking news.
With a few hosts complaining about lack of bookings. And it seemed to go viral, both with other hosts that were saying, hey, my bookings are down too. Like, is this a common thing? And then others sort of picking up that this was sort of the end of the short-term rental business, a collapse of the economy.
That's quite a proclamation.
And that we're looking at the end of travel as we know it.
Oh, wow.
So
Sky is
that's
falling.
back there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's falling. So maybe, and I've got my opinion on it, but do you have any initial thoughts on hearing that?
Well, I think all of this is incredibly clickbaity, and obviously that's the whole point. They're trying to drive views, but there's a couple things happening. First, seasonality is a thing. So if you're in a really primary summer vacation market and you're like, my September and October bookings have fallen since July, that makes some sense. And we're seeing a lot of new people entering the space as hosts, and Airbnb has, delivered kind of this package, like, hey, if you're kind of the mom and pop operator, sign up with us. This is what you can expect, all of that. And so maybe they did see a lot of really great returns in the first month or the year. And then, excuse me, things are just kind of, sort of equalizing a little bit. And then also having more people come, adding more supply means there's more supply. You might not see those same booking volumes. So I think there's like a confluence of factors happening.
Yeah. And I see that looking at the data, like overall bookings are up, like demand's up 20% year over year. Like there's no drop in overall bookings, but supply's up 25% year over year. So all those bookings are getting spread out over more hosts. Occupancy has come down. You think, like, everyone's saying bookings are, let's say 100, 200 people on Twitter saying their bookings are down. Like on average, everyone's bookings are down.
Yeah.
And since listings are up so much. So I don't think we can say that and people are saying is wrong because they're experiencing it. Yes, their bookings are down. But I think in terms of an industry trend, like, we're still going in the right direction. Demand booked in October and September relative to last year and years prior was still hitting records. So I think overall the outlook still looks great for the industry. We're just going to deal with, a lot of new hosts, new supply, people sort of learning their market seasonality, things like that. And
exactly.
Be some growing pains.
Yeah. And I think, like, when you mentioned the article, Tyler, I was like, I feel like I would know about that. Like, I was like, we have a pretty big chunk of our revenue comes from Airbnb. And if they had collapsed in the last 5 days, I'm like, I feel like we would have noticed.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't have been here. Right now.
I was like, I definitely would be in severe crisis mode. But yeah, and I think it's definitely, there's a lot of buzzy things that have been going around. I saw this Business Insider kind of post on Instagram saying, you could make almost 200 grand in profit in the year. And this is how we did it, listing out like the very basic things that you need to do to be a host. And so I think people have just been promised that, like, this is, the arbitrage is going to be huge. And that's just not always the reality. It depends on the market there's so many different factors.
Yeah. And also it's like last year you could like put up a tent in your backyard and probably sell it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if I'm seeing now, like, people are realizing, like, oh, like I actually have to do the basics to
Yeah.
make sure
Yeah.
I get bookings. I have to care about my reviews. I've got to maybe invest in some amenities to make sure I'm getting
Proper
bookings,
linens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
getting booked versus my competitors. So
Yeah.
and it's
Well, yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say the same thing as like the nonstop, like going through TikTok or any like other social medias. I'm gonna teach you how to. These like Airbnb gurus are just popping out of nowhere, and it's like, okay, a couple years ago, even pre-COVID, I think it was okay. I think we have a lot of them today that are like respectable people in the industry. They really do like diversify their portfolio outside of Airbnb and other things. But now you just have everyone and their grandma jumping onto this trend of like, I'm gonna get on TikTok because I know how to shoot a reel or do whatever and create this buzz around Airbnb. And it just kind of makes me question, like on the education point, like where does VRMA or people from VRMA come into play and say, hey, like we need to really not like stop it, but just educate a little bit better and kind of shift the focus away from clickbaity articles and
Yeah. I mean,
titles.
if I could have learned how to do this whole job from a TikTok video,
Yeah,
that would have saved me a lot of time.
you'd be retired.
I'd be retired. Yeah. So I also think that's an important piece though about bringing them into like the actual
Yeah.
industry and saying, VRMA might seem like an unnecessary conference to come to if you have one property maybe,
Yeah,
but really showing that there is value in coming to these events because now like you're not just renting out your home, like it's becoming a real business and there are there's a lot you can always learn things to improve your
for
business.
sure.
Even when you've been doing this for 20-30 years, you can always walk away from these conferences with a little bit of information. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good point about bringing people into the fold, and maybe they don't come to the big international conference right away. Maybe they do one of the smaller events first, but just to see that like if you're serious about it, then there's real value in becoming part of this community.
100%. And I was gonna say shout out to Robin Cragen because like even on like the registration um things here, those what are the little
Little
tabs?
lanyards, yeah.
Not the lanyards, but like the little flags you can put underneath here.
Mm-hmm.
There's like it has like a home unit count. It's like I managed 150 to 200 units. And he crossed it out saying units and he put homes underneath. And I was like, that's actually like it's like little things like that
Yeah.
because if we just focus on unit or doors or heads and beds,
Yeah.
that's where a lot of I don't know, a lot of those places kind of get really misleading. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, heads and beds, that's all we care about, but we're really in like hospitality. So yeah, that's like my hotel side coming out. It's like
Yeah.
the hospitality piece
Well,
is missing.
I actually, I like admittedly throughout the last 6 years go through these kind of like this roller coaster where like, sometimes I forget what the actual business is.
Yeah.
Where if you're like, especially if you're just like in the weeds or whatever, you're wrapped up in a project, and then I sometimes have to remind myself to take a step back and be like, okay, what is the actual business that we're doing? Like what is the core product? And I think that that's actually helpful to come back because then you can see things from a different perspective. But I did see Robin's post and I was like, I like that. We go by units, but but Robin has like homes.
Yeah.
Like
Huge
homes, lovely homes. So
Yeah.
yes, I would not want one of those estates to be called a unit.
Seriously. Same here. Outside of that, we've had some also interesting news pop up. Was it last week? What day is it today? Monday? It's Monday.
It is Monday. Yeah.
Friday? Thursday? What day was it? The layoffs.
Yeah.
Was that Thursday?
I think it was Thursday.
Yeah.
But yeah, layoffs at Vacasa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3%, 280 people. It's a pretty big number.
It's a big number, but it also isn't that like it isn't super alarming. I think, it's obviously not good. I feel very bad for anyone that just has, 280 people. It's a lot of people to let go at one time. But I think it's important to remember that this is not happening. Like this isn't just a Vacasa issue. This isn't just a short-term rental industry issue. This is happening across, multiple industries. And I think we're going to continue to see that reduction in workforce. I just saw the projections that Meta was probably going to lay off like 20% of its workforce. Jeez. And so I think that it's
good for you for calling them Meta. I would have.
I almost said I almost said Facebook, but I caught myself. Not that I owe Mark Zuckerberg anything, but yeah. So I think it's just kind of I don't think it is helpful to be alarmist about these kind of things, but it is. I don't think this is the last time that we'll see that. And I mean, in comparison, Sonder laid off 25% of its workforce earlier this year. So it's certainly not the first time our industry has had like kind of a big shock like that.
Yeah. And we're getting to the point in the cycle where inflation's still really high. The Fed's trying to slow the economy, and inflation report came out last week that was terrible, at over 8% CPI growth. So they're going to keep raising rates. The point of them raising rates is to slow the economy, and we're more than likely going to see a recession next year. We're going to see job losses, and a lot of companies, especially hospitality related, where they're so dependent on consumer spending. And if we go into recession and there is a pullback, and even if it is a small pullback in travel, for companies that are growing really fast, that could just mean a different growth trajectory that they're trying to right size to.
Yeah.
And we see that happening throughout the tech industry. And I'd expect, and we'll probably see it throughout more parts of the economy. And that's by design of what the Fed's trying to do, because we're sort of in an overheated economy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also, there's an interview with the CEO of Bank of America, and it was kind of a juxtaposition between him and I think it might have been the CEO of JP Morgan. Just kind of, they have very different viewpoints on what the next year could be like. His point was like that just that because there is a recession of some kind coming doesn't mean that it's going to be as catastrophic as, what people.
I think a lot of people have PTSD from 2008.
Yeah,
where it's like,
exactly.
oh my gosh.
And maybe a great segue. So we launched a new podcast.
Hospitality
with FM with Will, called the STR Data Lab. Me and my co-host is Mariah Kamei, VP of Marketing at Everything. In our first episode, we actually go through prior recessions and what the impact was to the hospitality industry. And then why we think this one's going to be different than specifically the past. Like we had COVID. We had the great financial crisis, which was the deepest recession since the Great Depression. We had 9/11. All these like specifically hurt travel and short-term rentals way more than other aspects of the economy. And this I do expect to be different and maybe look a lot more like recessions prior to that, like the 91 recession, go back to the 80 recession, which merely had a blip for revenue for short-term rentals, for hotels. And it maybe means that your near-term memory of what recessions might look like for your business, especially in travel, are not necessarily what would happen this time.
Yeah. Well, I also think that it kind of depends on who some of your core customers are. If you're in a really good drive-to market, it may be like that's an easier trip to take than if you were going to fly to, France or Colombia or wherever you're going to go, And so I think that the important thing is to prepare yourself for, kind of a scarier scenario. But if your business, if you have a solid foundation, then you can weather some of that uncertainty a little bit more.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, do you think there's gonna be a big drop in supply, or will that impact anything at all for us as well? Or
no, I think, and generally supply follows to. If we, even if we go into a mild recession next year, I don't expect demand for short-term rentals to actually go down. We're in such a strong growth trajectory that we're just going to see a slowing of demand. So maybe we go from 20% growth this year, down to 6% growth next year, which is in a big drop. You're going to see many markets actually go negative, many types of travel go negative, but overall and still slight growth. And it's going to hit, as Brandy said, different types of companies, very different.
Yeah. I also, there's, so many people have been entering the space as hosts. There's this new type of loan. I forget the name of it. I don't know if you guys,
DSCR.
Yeah. Where it's like, here's just a house that, based on your projected revenue. I think that seems very bubbly. And I think when things get a little bit more difficult, when it'll be the businesses that have a solid actual business that will be able to successfully weather that. And then you might see some of that newer supply maybe go back into the long-term rental market, maybe when people kind of have the reality of what it takes to actually run this kind of business.
And then I'm a broad narrative out there, and I'm sure yet whether I believe in it, is that if we do go into hard times in the economy, for people that have second homes, maybe that's the emphasis for them to put it and hire vacation rental manager and try to make some more money off that home when they're not using it themselves. There's still, and I think since it's put out, there's 5 million second homes out there. Only just over 1 million of them are being used as a short-term rental today. So there's a lot of supply that's out there that could come into the industry.
Well, it's great for property managers.
Yep.
Like, hey, get ready. They're gonna need it.
Yeah. No, that's really, I think that there's reason to be optimistic. I would just try to view things in a little bit more optimistic sense, because I don't know, being on the internet these days is very pessimistic. So
We don't want to be part of the sky is falling crew.
no,
just
but I
yet.
think it's kind of like, let's prepare and make sure that we have, a solid foundation, and then, kind of try to anticipate what's coming. But I think being quick to adapt is it's always the key, and it will only continue to be like, you had to adapt with COVID, and this is coming right after that. You just have to be willing to kind of make some maybe painful but quick decisions.
Yeah. And also be prepared for the repercussions for those, but that's part of the decision.
Well, and I feel like that's, and going back to the Vacasa layoffs, I think that that's part of the thought is like, let's do a big chunk now so that we can restructure, get ourselves in a good place so that we can continue, and that this doesn't become like a spiraling event,
Well, new CEO too. So I think I think coming into an organization that big, it's got to be hard to know who's like, obviously there's probably tons of people that have been around forever. So like, who's to know who's really been putting in work, not putting in work, vice versa. So maybe just kind of starting off fresh and then kind of gaining momentum with, but you can't, I don't know, just thinking of like the overall operations side, right?
Yeah. Well, also like you don't bring in a new C-level person to keep the status quo.
Yeah.
So I think that is probably to be expected.
Yeah. And who knows what their next big move is. It's got to be, because like with them being public, it's got to be there's got to be a reason behind it. Don't know exactly what. Maybe it's profitability and figuring out what that looks like for Vacasa. But yeah.
Well, I think it'll be interesting. We'll have probably better insight as to all these things after the end of this conference. But so I'll have to keep our ears to the ground for more information.
What's your guys' prediction? How many news stories do you think we'll see between when this goes live, so anyone who's watching, to then on the audio side, and then from the end of the conference? How many news stories do you think we'll see?
I think there's going to be a lot. There's definitely probably a lot of like funding news that's coming out.
Okay, so let's count real news.
Okay. I mean, I don't know.
Like anything exciting, like something that we're like, damn, that's a big move. Or I don't know. Like I'm gonna predict like 2 to 3.
Yeah. Okay. That seems like a reasonable amount of.
It's a safe number.
It's a safe number. Yeah. It's not too egregious. You're like 10 crazy news stories.
You're gonna be mind blown this whole week.
Yeah. Well, I think as we're getting towards the end of the year, it's always a weird time of year. It goes by first way too fast.
Yeah.
And then I think people start slowing down a little bit because, the holidays are happening and no one works. But then, you never know. That's maybe when the craziest thing could happen.
So we also have elections coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
True.
And it's going to be a crazy cycle.
Yeah.
With, run up to election.
Yeah.
Anything not election related is probably going to be very.
Yeah. That's actually pretty fair. Yeah.
Damn politician.
But
really can't wait to get through that.
Yeah.
That's it. And
Yeah.
thinking about the holidays again.
Exactly. Yes.
Seriously.
Thanksgiving is a nice bright spot on the horizon.
Oh, I can't wait to get stuffed.
Yeah.
So full of food. Well, sweet. This has been fun.
Yeah.
Glad that we got to do this in person.
I know.
Again, with me and Brandy, but with you.
I know.
Yeah.
I promise we'll get you to the intro. I swear. I promise. Okay. Well, anyone that's attending VRMA, make sure you come check us out. Say hi. I know Brandy and I will be on a panel today, the first day, 4:30.
Yes, 4:30.
Awesome. And then Jamie, do you have any panels? Anything you want to plug for Air DNA? What you guys are doing here?
I don't have any panels, and if anyone wants to come by, I'll be at booth. Be hanging out tonight, tomorrow.
He has hangover cures.
Yeah.
So that's reason enough.
Tell them you heard about it on GMH, and then you'll get your
happy to talk about data.
Awesome.
Well, we'll see you all again next week. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a great rest of your conference season as well.
Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Logify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.